Well, hello again, folks. Welcome to the third edition to my Simple Living series. In this episode, I will be discussing some of the pros and cons to living off the grid. Ever since I started sharing my life on YouTube, I've received thousands upon thousands of questions and comments. The one comment that comes in repeatedly, almost daily, is where people write in and tell me how anxious they are to live off the grid. Well, I've been living in cabins in the woods for over 30 years. Not the same cabin continuously. It's been different cabins in different woods. And throughout the last 3 decades, I've gotten to associate with a lot of people that share my desires of living simple and cheap. Unfortunately, I've seen quite a few people sever their ties with the power company only to find their venture go belly up within a few years, and 9 times out of 10, they find failure for one of 2 reasons. With the first reason being that people go from the normal lifestyle to now trying to live like a pioneer. They strip themselves of all the modern conveniences that they're accustomed to. Now they're struggling with refrigeration and lighting and things like that. And they're in such a difficult transition that they lose all the harmony that they were trying to achieve by leaving the rat race. It's either that or the opposite end of the spectrum, where people unplug themselves from the grid, but they make no adjustments in their lifestyle or their power consumption, and they find that they're running a generator more often than not, or they've invested so much money to have an elaborate solar array that they end up paying more to live the lifestyle that they did before they became unplugged, and they end up going back on the grid. I've seen it happen many, many times. I'm not making this video to discourage anyone. I'm just going to put things in a little bit different perspective. There's a lot of people writing to me, telling me how anxious they are to get off the grid, and I just want to put things in a little bit different perspective for you all. Now, if you followed my channel for any length of time, you'd know that I'm all about living simple and cheap. You'd also know of my intentions of selling off the homestead and then bouncing back and forth between my 2 cabins. Both of the cabins are off the grid. My intention of living off the grid really has nothing to do with saving money. Both of the cabins are way back in the woods, so off the grid is really my only alternative. Here at the homestead, when I built this, I built close to 400 feet off the road. And even though I'm set up perfect for solar and wind power, with the power lines running right by, I hooked on, and I'm glad I did. A lot of folks try to beat the system by severing their ties with the power company, only to find they're beating their head against the wall as they struggle to have an alternative method of electric light. Here at the house, I'm hooked to National Grid, but yet my entire power bill for a whole year never exceeds $400. I did my taxes last month. My accumulated power bill for the entire year of 2015 was $351. That, my friends, is a very affordable convenience. People tend to believe that the solution to cutting their high cost of living is to sever their ties with the power company, and it isn't so. The solution is simply making adjustments in your lifestyle and curbing your power consumption. I'll take you back into the house, talk about a few things that I do to lower my power bill. And I'll tell you here, even with all the comforts of home, I've been living simple and cheap. Now, when I told you that my power bill was $350 for the year, you probably think I'm walking around with a candlestick and a stocking cap like Ebenezer Scrooge. Well, I'll tell you, it isn't so. I may be frugal with the power, but I only cut corners where it doesn't hurt. I like to have the best of both worlds, and I've been able to achieve that. So, like I said, we'll go in the house and I'll talk about a few of the things that I do to cut my power consumption. It's cold out here. It's mid-April. We had about 3 inches of snow the other day. It all melted off because then it turned to pouring rain. It's still pretty frosty out. I'm going to sit by the fire for a little while, have a cup of tea, I guess. Chilly outside, but it's nice and cozy in here though. I hope I never have to live without a wood stove, especially a wood-burning cook stove. Like I said many times, being able to heat my home, heat some water, cook my food, all with the same fire, as far as I'm concerned, it's a must-have for the self-sufficient lifestyle. Whether the power's on or the power's off makes no difference. I can still achieve those tasks. Whenever I talk about my power bill with people, they always ask me, what is it that I'm doing to keep my power bill so low? It's not what I'm doing, it's what I'm not doing, and that is burning lights where I don't need to see. The only difference between myself and my neighbors with the high power bills is I burn less electricity than they do. Sounds kind of funny to say it that way, but it's true. It's really as simple as that. If I'm in the house watching something on the laptop, I don't have lights burning outside because I'm not outside. I don't have one burning on the front porch. There's not one on the back porch. There's not one in front of the garage. There's nothing on in the garage, nothing on in the shed. If I'm not in the kitchen, there's no light burning over the sink, so on and so forth. When I built this house, I put a lot of thought and planning into the direction the house was facing. I put in some skylights. I have a nice, bright, sunny house. There's no need for me to turn on a light to walk around in here or achieve any task. Same with the kitchen. I have a lot of windows. They're all facing in the right direction, and there's no need for me to have a light bulb on to do any cooking or cleaning in there during the day. Like I said, I don't like having all my eggs in one basket. If everything in the house is hooked to the grid goes down, I'm out of luck. If everything in the house is powered by propane, my tank gets empty, I'm out of luck again. So when I built this house, I covered all the bases. I can achieve my task with the wood stove. I have propane gas and electric. Pretty much ready for whatever the world throws at me. Both of my cabins have a gas stove. I just love gas stoves. Very, very efficient. When I was building this house, a local place was going out of business. They were emptying the place out. I grabbed up a bunch of stuff dirt cheap. I'll show you what I have. Now over here in the kitchen, believe it or not, is an electric range. But as you can see, there's no lights on. The breaker has been turned off for quite a long time. I don't think I have ever used the cooktop. The only time the breaker gets turned on is when I want to cook something big like a turkey and it's not winter time and the wood stove's not going and it won't fit in my toaster oven, so I fire this up. This has had very little use. Because if I'm going to cook just a small entree, it's a bit ridiculous to heat up this big beast of an oven, especially if it's only like a little mac and cheese or something. The toaster oven heats up in a snap. And like I told you what my power bill is, it's obvious that it consumes very little power. Another beauty of the toaster oven is during the summertime, I don't want to heat up the house. If I want to bake something, I can pick it up, put it out on the porch, do the baking up there, not heat the house up. Then over here, right across the kitchen, is a gas cooktop. Most of the cooking is done right here. I'm able to use it even if the power goes out. And I can set my Coleman oven right on this burner right here and even bake a loaf of bread without any electricity if I need to. Now the Coleman camp oven, that's the same oven that I used in the quiche video. where I demonstrated cooking a quiche on the extra burner of my gas grill. It's a very handy item to have, great for camping, power outages, things like that. I put the link in the description below. If you purchase an item through that link, regardless of what you purchase, Amazon gives us a little kickback and it helps to support the channel. So if you're going to do some shopping at Amazon and you shop through that link, regardless of what you buy, it does help to support the channel, and it's a win-win situation. So being on the grid is certainly the most convenient and simplest route to take, but if you're totally dependent upon it and the grid goes down, you can become inconvenienced really fast. If you're not frugal with your power consumption and you have a high bill every month to deal with, that's an inconvenience as well. But because I'm frugal with my power, I made some adjustments in my living situation. I shut off all my standby power. I'm not burning lights where I don't need to see. I changed all my light bulbs to LEDs. I can have all the comforts of home. I have my freezers. I have my washer and dryer. I even have a nice big jacuzzi style tub in my master bedroom. I have all the creature comforts, and all for under $400 a year. Like I said, that's a really affordable convenience to have. So once I leave here and move to my cabins, since those places are way back in the woods, I'm going to have to make further adjustments in my lifestyle. As far as food preservation, I'll have to do a bit more canning. As far as the freezer is concerned, I'll probably have to go the propane route. Propane freezers certainly do the job. They're quite a bit more costly, and their operation is often a bit more than it would cost to being hooked to the grid. I'm willing to accept those challenges, to accept the inconveniences, because I really like the independence that the off-grid lifestyle has to offer. So if you're dreaming about living off the grid, but your motivation stems from beliefs that eliminating your power bill is your solution for living simple and cheap, I suggest you do a bit of research and devise a plan for how you will achieve those tasks that the grid is presently providing for you. All of my successes in life came from making sacrifices and trade-offs. Going off the grid can be a life-altering decision, so decide for yourself which of those challenges and inconveniences you are willing to accept and make your decisions accordingly. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please click the subscribe button and share my channel with others. All the best to you, and God bless.